Hello everyone, welcome to GSS Core. This is Ajay Shah, and today we have a very important person with us, Miss Muskan Jindal. And Muskan is basically from Himachal Pradesh. She is a BCom graduate, and in her very first attempt, she qualified UPSC with All India rank 87. And today, Muskan is with us to answer all of our queries, doubt, confusion regarding this UPSC examination. So, Muskan, welcome to GSS Core.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Muskan, how does it feel to be an IAS officer?
It's a great feeling, actually. It's very new. Initially, it was very overwhelming for me. I got a little emotional as well. But now that I've got time to process this all, it's good.
Fine. And what was your first reaction, Muskan, when you saw the result and that with a very good rank?
I cried. As soon as I saw my result in the PDF, it was just natural response. I started crying like, finally, I've cleared it. So, yeah, fine. I could not even believe that I finally have this rank in the top 100 in my first attempt itself.
Okay, fine. Muskan, in very briefly, tell us about your educational background, your family background, and little thing about your journey of this UPSC.
So, yeah, all right. So, I am from Baddi. It lies in Solan district of Himachal Pradesh. And I come from a business family. My father is a businessman and my mother is a homemaker. I completed my studies from Baddi itself till +2. And then I did my graduation in BCom honors from SD College. It's affiliated to Panjab University in Chandigarh. So that's my background, educational background. And I started preparing for this UPSC in the final year of graduation. And after that, I gave my attempt in 2019 because I was not eligible in 2018 itself. I was underage then.
Okay, so fine. So Muskan, you're from a business family background. So what was the trigger factor that you started preparing for this examination?
So it was my father only. He sprouted this idea in my mind that this is what you have to do as you grow up. Since then, if anyone would ask me like, what do you want to do as after you grow up in your career? So I would say like, I want to be an IAS officer. I want to go for civil service only. So that was the driving factor.
Okay, so Muskan, if you see your background, then you're from CBSE background, then you're in 12th also you're from CBSE, and then in this graduation you had commerce, fine. So do you feel that in this UPSC, generally it is believed that engineers and the doctors, they are more in numbers to qualify for this examination? So what was that motivation factor, that confidence factor, which inspired you to face the competition from so many engineers, so many IITians and all? What was that motivational factor?
So I would say only one thing for this. Like, I always believed in myself, no matter what. What happens is, I also had friends preparing for this UPSC. Some of the people were in the habit of comparing themselves with others, but I always believed that my competition is with myself only. I did not get demotivated by what other person is studying or what is their progress. I just used to measure my progress, and I think that's what has been the motivating factor.
Okay, fine. So Muskan, I have seen that whenever a student come to me for the first time in our coaching and all, then the very first thing what they face obstacle in the selection of books, and they face obstacle in what to read and what not to read. And since you have attempted this paper and you have qualified the UPSC in the first attempt, can you just elaborate on your selection of books and all?
I'd say that I started from the very basics. And one thing I focused on was I kept my resources really limited. My focus of the strategy was that I'll keep my resources limited and revise them again and again. So that was my focus. Like I started with newspaper reading. That was non-negotiable for me. I did not substitute with any other magazine or so. I did refer to the consolidated magazines in the end, but I read newspaper daily. And for GS, I started with NCRTs. After I was clear with all the NCRTs, like my base was clear, I referred to the previous year questions, both for prelims and mains. And then only I went further to the standard books, which we study for this exam. So that was basically my strategy all along.
Okay, so Muskan, what do you believe, that we should read a lot of books, lot of materials for UPSC, or we should just confine ourselves to a few standard materials?
See, if you see, there are a number of resources available in the market for this UPSC, and it's very impossible to reach each and every resource. So we need to see what works for ourselves, and then we can decide upon the resources accordingly. It's better if we keep them limited than revise them again. That's better, I think.
Fine. Muskan, you told us that you started reading newspaper with a very focused strategy. So I've seen that whenever a student start the newspaper, especially the Hindu, for the first time, they feel a lot of difficulty in reading the newspaper. So what's your point of advice to the people who start reading newspaper for the first time?
So for the first time when I started reading newspaper, I started with a simpler newspaper like the Tribune or the Times of India. Initially, for a month or two, I read that. When I became acquainted with all the things that are there, then I shifted to the Hindu. So that was my strategy to become familiar with the newspaper.
Okay, and did you ever go for notes making of the newspaper?
So no, I did not make notes from newspaper because I used to feel like if I'll make notes every day, in the end it will be like such a large compilation which would be difficult for me to revise. So what I used to do was, if any editorial I used to find like it was really good, I used to make answers for mains from that editorial. I did not make very precise or short notes for prelims from newspapers.
Okay, so Muskan, since you have qualified the exam in the first attempt and that in a very young age, we are interested to know that if I ask you a question, when did you start preparation for this examination? What will be the answer? Was it really the final year, or you did something in the 12th itself or 10th itself? What was the exact and precise time for this?
I would say in the final year of my graduation, I started like normally, because it was difficult to manage graduation as well as the preparation. So I started with the basics like newspaper reading and covering the basic NCRTs. Then after that, the 1 year which I had, in that year, I studied dedicatedly for UPSC. I did not go for post-graduation or something else. I relied on self-study. And that year, I would say, was the main focus of my preparation.
Okay, so Muskan, in this UPSC, we have the stages of prelims, then we have mains, and then we have interview. So what was your style of preparation? Did you go for separate separate strategy, or the preparation was an integrated preparation?
It was an integrated preparation. Initially, I started with GS and optional, both for prelims and mains. And around 2 months before prelims, I prepared dedicatedly for prelims, like not for mains. Before that, it was integrated, both prelims and mains.
Okay, Muskan, what do you think? How much role a test series has for the selection of this examination? Test series.
I think very much it plays quite a large role, because in prelims, you will see that if we keep on attempting the test, we get to know like what kind of questions we are not attempting right, or what kind of mistakes we are doing, and like how much questions we need to attempt to be in that comfortable range so that we can clear the cutoff. So that is important. That's why I think prelims and for mains as well, answer writing you cannot learn in one day. This is something you need to practice over time. So test series play a major role.
Okay, so Muskan, what was your the first day of this mains writing? For example, I've seen that some people they start writing answer writing after 1 year after completion of course. So what do you think? What is the right time to start this answer writing practice?
I think as it's like after you are done with the NCRTs and the first reading of your standard books, that is a good time to start answer writing. What I used to do initially was, there's this inertia always to write answers. You feel like if you cannot write or anything. So I used to take up a previous year question. I would research on that. I would write a rough answer, and then I would make it a fair answer. I did this for around a month and a half. And then only I gained the confidence of writing an answer directly without studying beforehand. So that's what I did.
Okay, fine. Muskan, tell us one thing. There is something called revision in UPSC, and I've seen that the people they basically face a dilemma. For example, if you have say 10 hours tomorrow to study, then you will feel that I should complete the new syllabus or I should go for revision. So, what was your style? Did you go for simultaneous revision, or the style was little different in you?
So what I did was, I used to take one subject at a time. I used to complete it. And then in the end, after completing, I would attempt a sectional test for prelims related to that subject, which would cover revision part. If I was if there were some parts which were not like I was not remembering from that part, I would revise that time only. So that was basically my strategy of revision.
Okay, Muskan, can you just throw some light over notes making? The syllabus is so bulky. So how do we decide that from which part we should go for notes making and which part we should leave in notes making?
So regarding notes making, what I feel is the number of times you read a book, the more you get. So I did not make any detailed notes for any of the subjects. I used to make notes, very crisp notes that I could refer right before the examination, be it prelims or mains. That was my strategy because, for example, when you read M. Lakshmikant or Spectrum, the first reading you will give, you will miss many of the things. Then in the second reading, you will realize that, oh, these were also there in the book. So that's what I feel. So I'd never made any detailed notes.
Okay, so you basically went with the underlining and all, highlighting the book itself.
Yes, highlighting in the book itself.
Okay, so wasn't it so bulky to revise that key points just before the examination?
Yeah, that's what I did. I made very crisp notes for revising right before the examination, not before that. Like very short notes, handy stick notes kind of thing. That could be revised in like an hour or two just before the examination.
Okay, so it depends on us how we are going to make notes. We can make notes separately, or we can even underline on the books itself. That will also work.
Yes,
Fine.
yes.
Fine. Now, Muskan, tell me one thing. When it comes to the selection of option, it is said that optional play a major role in the selection of any of the aspirant in UPSC. And your optional is commerce itself, and you are also from commerce background.
Yes.
And just a few hours back, I took the interview of one ranker, and he was basically from IIT, and he went for sociology despite of an engineering background. So, what do you think? What are the factors that we should keep in our mind while selecting the optional subject?
So there are many factors. Many people go for deciding the optional by looking at what kind of scoring is there or how much people score in that optional. My only consideration was that I should be able to do that subject properly. If, I should be interested in that subject. Because I think if we are not interested in any of the subject, then it becomes monotonous. And I did not think that scoring is important because if I'll read that subject nicely, I think we'll be able to score. So that was my only consideration.
Okay, fine. Muskan, can you just tell me one thing that the style of answer writing in optional that differs quite from that of GS subjects. So for example, you're from commerce background and say we have any of the scheme from economics and all. So how one should be cautious while writing the answer in optional and this GS paper, particularly paper 3 for you?
So paper 3 in economics, what I feel is like we need to understand the demand of the question. When we write mains, we see that there are many subparts in the question. And sometimes while writing answers, we tend to miss those subparts. So it's very important you read the question nicely and then understand what is the demand of the question and answer accordingly. And a proper conclusion and introduction is very important, I think.
Okay, fine. Muskan, tell me one thing. While this preparation for UPSC, did you put any extra effort or any extra timing and all for this interview preparation?
Yes, I did. Only after I cleared mains, that was the time I started preparing for interview. So I put special focus on my state, that was Himachal Pradesh, and also related to my hobbies, which are singing and doodling. So these were the areas which I focused upon.
Okay. Muskan, I have seen that students, almost all the students, they are good in some of the parts, they are bad in some of the parts. For example, majority of the students, they feel little uncomfortable in art and culture and all. So what was your weak area and how did you deal with those areas?
So my weak area was ancient and medieval history. So I relied on old NCRTs for ancient and medieval entirely. I did not go beyond that. I revised that book again and again, and I think that was sufficient for me at that time.
Okay, fine. Muskan, how did you go for this current affairs? Because it's so bulky, it's so dynamic. So how did you deal with that?
On a daily basis, I used to read the newspaper. And at the end, before prelims and mains, I referred to the compilations and the consolidated magazines, which are available for all around the year. So that was my strategy for current affairs.
Fine. So the first is newspaper, second is monthly compilation of any standard coaching. And did you go for these magazines like Yojana, Kurukshetra, and India Yearbook, Budget, Economic Survey and all?
Yes, budget and economic survey I revised properly. For Yojana, I referred some of the months like any special edition if related. And for interview also, I referred Yojana
Okay, that means
right before the budget and all.
if you sum up the current affairs, the number one newspaper, number two gist of Yojana, then number three monthly compilation, and number four the yearly magazines like India Airbook and all. Fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Muskan, tell me one thing. There are a lot of students in our country who want to prepare for UPSC without any coaching because of various factors. Some of them face financial constraint or time constraint. Do you feel that anyone can qualify this UPSC without coaching?
I feel totally we can do it because it's everything available on Google and YouTube. You search anything and you will find everything related to UPSC online. So it's not really important to join the coaching. You can do it on your own.
Okay, fine. So Muskan, for a freshers like you, if we see the time span of our country, then few years back, say 5 to 7 years back, there were no information available and all, and people would search for information from here and there. But now, if we search on Google how to prepare for UPSC, then we will get lakhs of pages, jargon of facts are there. So many data is there, and now data mining becomes quite difficult. So, as a fresher, I want to know your experience. How did you decide that what should we refer and what should we reject in all this information available on the internet?
Yeah, so I also did not have any prior guidance and regarding this UPSC when I started my preparation. So I initially referred to some of the topper strategy, and I got to know what are the reliable sources and what things we need to refer. And based on that, I devised my strategy.
Okay, fine. Now, Muskan, tell me one thing. For example, I believe that qualifying UPSC is like reaching an island. Fine, and all people they have different ways to reach the island. But the thing is that Muskan, say you are a fresher, you started for this examination, and someone says you to read XYZ book, or someone says you to read ABC book. Then how do a fresher who is totally unknown to this examination decide which book is important for him?
So what I used to do when I came across some new source or anything, I refer to the source which I'm already covering. Then I would attempt a test for that, like a sectional test for prelims, and I would see if I'm able to answer relying on my sources only. If it was there, then I would stick to my resources only. Otherwise, I would change my strategy. So that's what we can do. We can attempt test and know like where we stand. That is very important.
Okay, fine. Muskan, tell me one thing. You're from a CBSE background, and we got to know that you got very good marks in CBSE. So, do you feel that during the preparation, your educational background, what you did in your schooling or the college, that built your confidence or that helped you to qualify this examination?
I think it helps because in a way, in my college itself, I was a rank holder in my university. So I had a strong hold in commerce subject. So it helped me because I was clear with some of the facts beforehand in that subject, like commerce and accountancy. And same goes for other subjects as well. Like I had commerce stream in +2. So I had quite a strong hold in economics, which helped me in my preparation. So I think if we focus right from the beginning, it will help you.
Okay. So Muskan, were you active on social media, Facebook, Insta and all?
Yes, I was active. I believe there needs to be a fine balance between the both, because as they say, like all work and no play makes Jack a dull horse.
Okay.
So I believe in that active.
Okay, fine. So Muskan, in our life, every one of you, it's you or me or anyone, everyone, they have some kind of distraction, some kind of obstacle, some kind of demotivational factors in their life. So you must have faced during this journey some kind of demotivation, obstacle or distraction, we can say. How to deal with this kind of distraction as an UPSC aspirant?
So I think we need to understand that this whole cycle of UPSC preparation, it's a journey. It's not a 1 or 2 day thing. It takes like around an year or two to prepare before, and then you give your attempt. So there are days when you don't feel like studying or you are demotivated. What I used to do was I would spend time with my family or friends, discuss things with them. So to divert my mind and start afresh. Or I would like doodle, which is my hobby. So we can do that thing, like we can take some time for ourselves and do things which we like. That ways we can refresh our mind.
Okay, so going for complete isolation while preparing for UPSC, you believe that that's not nothing more than a myth. We can just have a fine balance of life. We can maintain our social life. We can maintain the life of UPSC also. Fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
truly.
And Muskan, now tell me one thing. There is something called group study in this UPSC. I've seen that the people they normally make groups, and also were you part of any such group in UPSC?
I was in my interview preparation, not before that, because in interview it is believed that if you interact with the students and the aspirants, you get to know the opinions of others, and that way you can prepare better. So before that, I prepared on my own only. During the interview stage, I was part of some of the study groups.
Okay, fine. So Muskan, can you just tell me, you must be having a lot of friends, some of them would have qualified, some of them would have failed. So can you just tell me what are the qualities that you feel are required for a UPSC aspirant?
So there are some of the very crucial things, like for having a positive bent of mind is very important, especially for the beginners, because initially what I used to feel was like I used to be worried about the results, if I'll clear or not. But with time, I realized that keeping that consideration aside, if we focus and give our 100%, then we'll surely have success. Secondly, consistency is very important, because this is a journey and you need to be consistent throughout. There will be days when you won't study, or you will study less, but the progress should be forward, not backward. So that's what I think is important: positivity and consistency.
Okay, so consistency is very important in this examination. Muskan, now tell me one thing. What was your experience during interview of the UPSC panel?
So my interview went very well. I got Air Marshal Bhosle sir's panel. So as soon as I entered the boardroom, the chairperson sir, he made me all comfortable. He said that it's going to be a general discussion, and if I don't know anything, I just need to say them politely, like I don't know it. So what I realized after the interviews was that it was truly a personality test, and a few things which we need to keep in mind is, like, we need to be totally honest, because if we bluff, they'll catch you in a moment, because they are so experienced. That was, and be yourself. That's what I'll say. My interview went really well. If I say, it went smoothly.
Okay, fine. Now, Muskan, test series, they are nowadays quite popular among the aspirant test series of prelims also and mains also. I've seen that some of people I've met, they go for just one test series, any standard test series of 30 to 20 to 30 questions. But some people say that they are going for test series like 2 test series, 3 test series. So what do you think? How many tests are sufficient to qualify this examination in prelims also and mains also?
So in prelims, I attempted quite a few mock tests from different uh, institutes. It was not fixed to just one institute, because I refer to like 4 to 5 coaching institutes for mock tests. And in mains, I could not write much of the tests because I felt that I was short on completing my syllabus. I focused more on content at that time. So I relied on previous year questions mostly. I used to solve them on my own. I could not attempt more test series during the mains.
Okay, fine. So, Muskan, do you feel that the previous year test papers in prelims or the mains, they play a major role in our selection?
Yes, it does. Because once we are through with the previous year question papers, we get to know what are the important areas of focus, what kind of questions UPSC is putting, and we'll see a trend. And when we read the books, then we'll understand like which topic is important or not. So in that context, it is very important to have a look at the previous year question papers.
Okay. Muskan, I have seen that normally students, when they study any kind of book, say Lakshmi or any of the history book, then after some time, a fatigue stage is reached, right? So, what as any aspirant should do to defeat this fatigue stage? I straight question. What was your style of study? Did you go for one subject at one go, like 25 days or 30 days, or you went with diversification of subjects?
So I went with one subject at a time. If I'm starting with geography, say, so I'll complete. I used to complete that subject and then move on to the next subject. Whenever I used to have this fatigue, which you're saying, I would solve a test, or I would study some other thing, like maybe some other current affairs or anything. But I did not go for another subject in between. I would finish one and then only go to another one.
Okay, Muskan, there are two types, two style of taking the breaks. One of the style is that the people take one full day break, like Sunday, I will not study anything. I'm going to watch movies. And one style is that every day for a few hours, I'm going to watch movies and all. So what was your style of taking breaks?
So the former one, every Sunday I had this, like I'll do what I want to do, spend time with family or go for a movie with friends or an outing. And rest of the 6 days I would study like 100%. So that was my style.
Okay, Muskan, how much role does this institution of family plays in the selection of UPSC?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
How much role does this institution of family, how much role does a family plays in selection of UPSC?
I think it's quite important in my case because I come from a joint family. So whenever there were days like I felt low on motivation, I would come and sit with along with my cousins. We would play some indoor games like carom board or something. Also, I would sit with my grandfather. He would motivate me, tell me stories from his own life. So I think it's important.
Okay, fine. Muskan, you just mentioned about that we should stick to the process of the examination rather than the result. So this is called Nishkam Karma. You might have read in ethics. So as per Nishkam
Yes.
Karma, we should be focused on the process of the examination, not the result. But it looks very difficult. It's not practical. So what was your experience in dealing with this whenever the effect of result or the tension of result would come into your mind? How did you deal with this?
So I always had a talk with my father whenever I used to come across such dilemma, and he's great at motivating. So he would tell me to be positive and leave all these considerations aside. So every time I face some kind of difficulty, I would discuss with him.
Okay,
That
fine.
was there.
Fine. Muskan, you're from Himachal Pradesh. Just few days back, I took
Yes.
the interview of Ilma Afroz. You might be knowing Ilma Afroz. She is posted in Himachal Pradesh only as an ASP. So it's a harsh reality that India is a patriarchal society and we are living in a patriarchal society. So did you
Hmm.
ever feel that being the part of this patriarchal society has something to do with your selection or something to do with the kind of obstacles in UPSC?
Uh, Fortunately, I did not have to face any such difficulty due to the patriarchal set of mind because my family was very supportive. But there are girls which have to face this. Because given the considerations, boys are given preference for studies. We see, so it is important to deal with that thing. Fortunately, I did not have to face any such difficulty.
Okay, thank you. Muskan, what will be your goal and objective after becoming IAS? I think you will become IAS or even IPS. I don't know what will happen because that depends on the seats and all. So whatever you become IAS or IPS, what will be your objective as an IAS or IPS for this Indian society?
So my objective basically would be to help each and every section of society, and also with a focus on women empowerment and child labor. I think that's very important to deal with these two issues in our country. If I'll get a chance, I would be very much happy to deal with these.
Okay, fine. So you want to work for that. Fine. Muskan, can you just can you just throw some light and tips to the students because students, the people who are preparing for UPSC 2020, their examination is there on 4th of October. So we have hardly 2 months in our hand. So in the last 2 months, what should be our strategy for sure short selection in the prelims examination?
So I would say that UPSC is very unpredictable. So maintain a focus between the static and the current affairs portion. Revise both very nicely. You never know what part they'll put up in examination. So it's better if we are prepared beforehand. And before writing the prelims, it's important that we revise all the content thoroughly. If we are referring to many of the sources and not revising what we have read earlier, it's of no use. So revision is very important, I would say.
Okay, fine. Muskan, tell me one thing. I have seen that the people who are from commerce background, many of our students, they first complete CA or they get some professional courses and all. That might have come in your life also that you had to decide that whether I should go for some professional courses and make some career backup plan or I should go directly for UPSC because ultimately we all know that UPSC is quite uncertain and there is a high level of risk involved in. So what was your mindset basically when you had to decide on this?
So I was very young when I decided like I want to go for civil service only. So I was very clear right from the beginning that I don't want to go for chartered accountancy or any other career backup plan. Uh, yeah.
Okay, you
So
were very clear in that. There was no doubt in
yes,
that. Okay, okay, fine.
yes.
And Muskan, during this preparation of UPSC, say 1.5 years or 2 years, do you feel that you did some mistakes that you could have avoided during this preparation?
Definitely. When you are studying, you realize that maybe I could have done this way better. So one thing I would say, I wrote a few test series in mains. So I think that I could have improved upon. Writing more tests helps. So that was one area which can be focused.
Okay, okay. Muskan, the last question to you of this session. I've seen that some people, they start preparation after 12, some after 10. Like you said that you start preparing in the final year of graduation. So what is the right time to start preparation for UPSC? The right time?
I think 1.1 to 1.5 years before the attempt is a good time. Because if we start right after 12th, you'll study for around 3 to 4 years, and when there will be the final time of giving the attempt, you'll feel like this fatigue, like I've been studying for so long. So I think you don't need to study that much. 1.5 to 1 years is a good time.
Okay, so whenever you are ready to devote 1 to 1.5 years, that will be the right time for you. So you can attempt it anytime. Fine.
Yes.
So thank you,
Yes.
Muskan. I want to have your last words to the aspirants. Your last words.
So one thing I'll say, I think this is very crucial as well, which I said earlier also. Don't compare yourself with anyone. Do what is good for you. Make your own strategy. Like refer to all the sources, but then devise your own strategy. That is very important. And just give your 100% without caring about the results, and surely success will come to you.
Yeah, Muskan, I will just share a message with you on WhatsApp. The message which is in circulation. एक message circulate हो रहा है. उसमें लिखा है कि जब हम अकेले न्यूज देख रहे हैं तो न्यूज आता है इंडिया में इतने लोग कोरोना से मर गए, और जब फादर के साथ देखता हूँ तो आ रहा है कि ये लड़की आईएएस बन गई, ये लड़की आईपीएस बन गई. So you rightly said that we should not compare with ourselves with anyone. We should run our own race. So Muskan, thank you very much. I hope that people have learned a lot of things from you, and you are surely an inspiration for lakhs of students in India. And Muskan, we believe that you will become a wonderful officer of our country, and very best for you, Muskan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.